and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public service program for the Special District's May 18th election that is being produced by Capital Community Media via remote technology in collaboration with the community groups of American Association of University Women, League of Women Voters, Marion and Polk Counties, and Salem City Club. For the Salem Keizer School Board election, all candidates were invited and they all accepted. The candidate was asked to prepare a 2-minute opening statement telling about themselves and their qualifications for the elected position. I am Sharon Krimmel from the League of Women Voters, Marion and Polk Counties, and I would like to introduce Mike Slagle, who will now begin with his opening statement.
Hello, I'm Mike Slagle. Thank you for having me today. It's a joy to be here. I'm running for school board in Zone 5. My background is I've lived in the Houck neighborhood for 25 years. My family's been in Oregon 160 years. I was born and raised in Salem, and I went to Salem Keizer schools. I have a granddaughter and a grandchild on the way that's going to be attending grade school. I've been a volunteer coach at Paris Little League, club travel. I've volunteered at North Salem High School coaching. I'm also a football official and a basketball official. I was a board member on the Little League board where we got a safety plan together and district-wide, and we won an award for it. In the Booster Club, I was president for 1 year, and we got the community together with all the alumni, National Guard, the local businesses, and we got enough funding to get the field turf put in at North Salem High. That was one of my most proud accomplishments, and I want to continue to do that as a school board member to bring the community together and work together with local businesses, with our families, within our community to get kids in school. The main reason I'm running is I want the kids to feel like they have a belonging, that they would come to school every day, that they are encouraged to grow as people with the curriculum that is offered, the basics, the math, the reading, the science. I want all those kids to have opportunities in the C-Tech program because some people learn that way. And I want them just to have a great opportunity and a great experience in school and leave with an education that will help them be fruitive and industrious individuals in our community and be independent and not reliant on government.
The questions were developed by the sponsoring groups, and the candidates did not receive them ahead of time. The League has prepared 7 questions, and each candidate has 9 minutes in which to answer them. Not all questions need to be answered, but all the candidates will be given the same questions and the same 9 minutes total time, which includes the time it takes to ask or repeat a question. The candidates' responses to the individual questions will not be timed. Now let's give candidate Mike Slagle an opportunity to address some questions and topics of concern to our community. Our first question is, if elected, in what areas of the school board responsibilities are you particularly interested?
The education process. I'm interested in getting basic studies back to the students that will help them get over poverty, to lessen homelessness, so they can have an education and break that chain of poverty. That's one of my biggest concerns for our children today.
Our next question, what effect do you think it will have to elect school board members by zone rather than at large?
That's a great question. I think by zone, I would like to see some community input before we made that change. I would like to see if that is the consensus throughout the community that is in favor of that. The current system is fine with me, but if the community feels like they have a better chance of getting candidates that they want to represent their zone, then I'm for looking at that. I'm not opposed to doing that, but I would like the community input first.
Our third question, in several places in the district policy for the school board, it states that there are to be regular opportunities for public feedback. How is this ensured, and what would you do differently, if anything?
I would definitely, we got to be approachable as a board. And, I think part of the thing is when we get things open back up because of the pandemic, we understand that we're lessened to be able to do that. But I'd like to open the board meeting to have any constituents in the community come in and ask questions, and us be an open book to that, not be behind the scenes making policy without community input. I think it's really important that we reach out to our community and be approachable. Very important.
Our fourth question: what do you think about the decision to skip standardized testing this year?
Well, that's a touchy subject. I think that part of this reason that they're doing this is because they know that students have fell behind from not being in school. So they some of it, I think, is a fear of what the outcome might be. But I think it's probably okay for now. But I think in the future we can't continue to do this. So I'm for having standardized testing to ensure that we see the data for where our children are at, so we can better help them get to graduation rates that right now, frankly, is very low in our community. I would like to see that get increased exponentially, and sometimes it's through those tests that we find out where the students stand at this given time. This year has been one of those weird years, so that's how my take on it. But I'm not opposed to doing the standardized testing.
Question 5. What steps would you take to address the disparities in academic performance before the pandemic and now as we transition to in-school instruction?
Yes, that's a great question also. We got to look at things through an equitable lens. We hear that term a lot, but I think we really do. And fiducially, I want to make sure that our tax dollars go to those areas in need, to those schools that need more help on getting students caught up. The ESL program, I think, needs to be broadened so we can get our kids from 3rd to 4th grade that are proficient in English, and also teach the English students Spanish. I'm good with doing that too. I think it's important that if we have that opportunity for English-speaking students, we can better communicate with each other. But the big thing, I think, is just to get kids up to speed by the time they're in 3rd, 4th grade, so they'll continue on in the middle school and to high school and get a higher graduation rate out of that.
Our 6th question: with local law enforcement contracts ended, how will the areas of concern that they addressed now be handled?
I think school resource officers are an important tool in our schools. It may need to be that we have to train school resource officers in a different way. Perhaps we can use the principal for each school in the hiring process because they know the dynamic of it inside the halls of their schools. I don't want to eliminate them. I want to bring them back because they are the first to see a child that may be abused, the first one to see gang activity, the first one to see property damage, sexual abuse, all these things. They could be a liaison. They are a liaison and would continue to do so within our schools. It might be that we train them differently, but they are an intricate part of keeping our schools safe. I want our parents to have a sense of security by sending their kids to school knowing that they'll be safe. I don't want them to have any fear that their child is going to get harmed, introduced into gangs or drugs or any of that activity. I want to make sure that we have school resource officers in our school.
Our 7th and final question is, our school budget has faced monetary issues due to the pandemic, fires, houselessness, technology. What do you propose for meeting these financial challenges?
We have to be financially responsible with the tax dollars. We had a lot of tragedy in these last couple of years, or this last year in 2020. Like you said, the fires. I live in the Highway 22 corridor, and the smoke was smothering. Mm-hmm. The ice storms broke down all of our trees. It kept electricity down. Kids couldn't learn during that time. I want to make sure that kids have the opportunity to keep going to the EDGE program because some kids learn better at home. But ultimately, I want the kids to get back in school full time and, if possible, with the health guidelines, without masks, so they can feel comfortable in the school and learn like kids have been learning for eons and have a sense of community. I just want to see the finances of our tax dollars being spent properly in the right areas. Very important to me that when we make policy for that they go in the right area.
Now we invite candidate Mike Slagle to share his closing remarks and to provide contact information for our viewers.
Thank you. I request your vote today because I'm passionate about our community. I'm from here. I've lived here all my life, and I see some of the struggles in our community. And through my years of coaching, I've seen all the diverse students that come across on my field when I'm coaching. I've had some kids at very low income, some kids that are well-to-do, but they all have struggles. So I want to include them when they go to school. I want to make sure that they are inclusive, that they feel welcomed into the school, no matter what their background is, their religion, color, whatever it might be that is holding them back. I want to make sure that they get into school. My dream is to get higher graduation rates amongst our students. And I think part of that is we can keep the vocational program and expand it. The CTEC program is what they call it. But some kids learn better doing the CTEC program vocational rather than reading and writing or math. They learn better with hands-on. So I want to expand that. The biggest reason for this is I see a lot of homeless people in our community. We all see it all over our community. And I think through education, we can help these students that are in our current school system to not fall into that trap of being homeless, on drugs. And I think a strong background in education can help their confidence in getting the job that they can make a good living at, so they can have a living wage and live independently without government assistance, living on the streets and falling into victim of drugs and abuse. Very important to me. We care about our kids. Community first. Very important.
Thank you, Mike Slagle, for our interview today and for sharing your thoughts. Thanks to Capital Community Media for the extensive efforts made to make this program happen. And thanks to you, the public, for watching in order to become an informed voter. Remember to vote by May 18th because your vote counts.